I'm joined today by Robin Young of Amur Minerals. Robin, thank you for joining us. Amur has announced it's raised equity funding today. Can you tell us the background to the funding, the reason for it, and how the funds will be used?
Yes, we have just completed a £12.5 million placing, which will be executed over 5 separate tranches of £2.5 million each, spaced at 90-day intervals. In accompanying with that will be a issuance of 3/4 of a warrant per share. The pricing of each one of these installments will be based on the closing market price of the day before. It's a substantial amount of money, and it's going to move us through the DFS, the definitive bankable study that we're looking to complete over the next 18 to 24 months.
What can you tell us about your new shareholder?
New shareholder is Creed CG3. They manage family funds, and they're based out of New York, and they have worked with other companies, resource companies as well in the past. Generally, what happens with them is when you completed the first round, people are very pleased with the relationship that they've had, and they reestablish themselves and do a second round. I'm not saying that we shall, but it is an opportunity that presents itself, and it will dovetail quite nicely with our working with the Far East Development Fund that we have an agreement with in Russia, who will be working in helping assist us in development of the infrastructure projects in the future, as well as funding opportunities in Russia, China, and potentially India.
You've had a lot of announcements about your 2015 field season. When can we expect to see the results of your exploration drilling? And can you give us an indication of what you expect when the results are finally released?
The final results will be used to generate an in situ geological resource estimate. Basically, we targeted an inferred area of resource which contained 24 million tons of resource. The successful infill drilling has been verified. We are waiting for the final analytical results to come back from Alex Stewart Laboratories in Moscow. From those results, we'll be back into one of the external consulting agencies that specializes in resource and reserve definition. And at that point in time, what we'll be able to do is update the Mali-Krumkan-Flangovi estimate itself. One of the key issues there, or one of the key upside potential items that we accomplished this last year, is a step out of 400 meters, expanding the resource towards the Gorny deposit. These deposits could all link up into one zone, potentially 6 kilometers in length.
And looking ahead to the ultimate development of Kun-Manie, how do you see it progressing and over what timeline?
What we're working on right now is with these funds and the existing $6 million cash that we have in the bank, we're going to advance the project as rapidly as possible in developing the bankable feasibility study. The most important asset that we have at this point in time is the resource, and the resource needs to be looked at very carefully. At this point in time, we've announced numbers based on $7.50 a pound, or approximately $14,400 a ton. Today's price is substantially lower than that. We're talking about $8,800 a ton. At this point in time, what we're looking at is, because we have high-grade cores in all of our deposits, we need to take a look at providing a better production schedule where we move these higher grade tonnages forward. Once we have the final production schedule, that will tell us what the exact specific sampling program we need to undertake to obtain a bulk metallurgical sample that can be used to do the final plant designs on this operation and allow us to establish our final metal flow, which is, do we sell it as a toll smelted product, or do we build a flash smelter, or do we just generate a low-grade concentrate, or excuse me, a low-grade matte? We've talked about this before, and there's been previous research notes done on this, and right now we're looking at an operation that is potentially in the order of $800 million in capital expenditures. The lion's share of this expenditure will be associated with road and power, and we are working with the Far East Development Fund on reducing the road and power costs, as well as assisting us in the design and the funding of those options. As we develop, all these pieces have an interplay, and we have to revisit them and to obtain the final detailed option that will provide us with a bankable study 18 to 24 months hence.